Hey friends, it's Kari from the Alford Homestead, and today I wanted to share with you our garden in its current condition, which frankly is not looking as great as it should be. I just wanted to share with you the reality of what a garden looks like when life hits you hard. If you have not seen my previous video, I was hospitalized recently for pregnancy complications, and my garden has suffered terribly for it. I am back home now on bed rest, so I'm trying to play a little bit of catch up while being on bed rest. It's not quite easy, but I wanted to share with you guys nonetheless where we're at in this season right now. I could not help but include a little clip here of my girls first thing in the morning picking berries. They were so excited. We have 60 strawberry plants currently, and they all turned red as soon as I got home from the hospital. So the girls are loving that right now.
You can count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right.
So here's a quick clip of the summer garden. We are 3 rows deep on both sides. We will be adding, again, more beds over time, but this is where we're at right now, just to give you a quick overview. So I've got some pots in the back, some experiments, some cabbage. I've never been able to do spring cabbage here. That's why I have them in pots. It's an experiment. We'll see if I can do it this year. Probably not going to happen, but in any case, we'll try. And I've got some sunflowers. Volunteer sunflowers are everywhere. It's one of the wonderful benefits of planting sunflowers is they have so many seeds that just self-seed over time. All of the plants that suffered the greatest while I was in the hospital, my peppers were not even in the ground. When I went to the hospital, I had to put them in the ground just like 4 or 5 at a time, and they were dropping their leaves. They looked very pale, but thankfully they are looking much better. But I'm happy to say that the potatoes were already in the ground, so they're looking great. These are mostly Kennebec varieties. I love the Kennebec variety. So I've got about 40 plants here, and I've got some volunteer cucumber plants, which actually, if you have volunteer plants on the edge of the bed, you can keep those and trellis them up on the side. If we'll put like a little cattle panel, cut it to size, and that will be their little trellis just on the very end of the bed. So don't pull those up if you don't have to, because you might get something out of those. And here's another sad story. While I was in the hospital and recovering at home, there was a chicken that had kept getting out somehow and destroyed most of the cucumber plants that had sprouted. So I have had to replant those. We're in the middle of May, and I've just re-sowed about half of those plants. So sad story, but again, it's the situation we're at right now. I finally transplanted my tomato plants. Most of these are Roma varieties for storage, and cherries and slicers, just about 7 varieties of tomatoes interspersed with basil plants in between as well. I've already harvested a couple pounds of radishes. Thankfully, those did totally fine while I was gone, but I guess I left a few, so I'll go ahead and grab those now. And another sad story, these are Chinese yard-long beans. We've never grown these before. I am not impressed. They definitely took a nosedive while I was gone and not in the garden. There's some rust spots on them. They're looking a little iffy. I don't know how these are going to do at all. I planted a whole row of those, so 20, and you know, they're just there. They're not thriving yet. I'm hoping that they'll take off now that I'm home and can give them a little bit more care. These are another pole bean variety. It's a purple pole bean variety that I've got. Those are doing well, so I am happy that my husband put the trellis up just in time for these guys to start wrapping themselves and training themselves up the trellis. And this bed, of course, needs to be weeded, but I've got just a variety of summer squashes in here, which again took a hit from that random chicken that kept escaping. And so I had to replant those as well. It just seems, you know, when it rains, it pours. I wasn't there to help take care of the plants. The random chicken was escaping. We just have an escape artist on our hands. I've got some onions and garlic that are doing great, so those are looking good. Those will be harvested hopefully in another month or two. This is just the reality of the situation. It's not great, but honestly, you know, the gardener in me is frustrated by the lack of progress. But right now, my family and my unborn child, they need me more than my garden right now, and that's just the season of life that we are in right at this moment. This area, for instance, was completely neglected the past few months, and I just kept thinking we would get to it, and then I'm in the hospital, and the next thing you know, we have a jungle on our hands. And again, that's just one of those things that happen, and we have to catch up now. And unfortunately, I have to rely more on other people for help at this point. I have dozens of plants here that are just sadly not looking so happy right now. These tomatoes aren't doing too bad, so I will try and keep as many of those as I can. I've got about 40 in the grounds right now, so if I can plant some more, I will. I will be in the hospital in 2 weeks' time to have my C-section, and until then, I will try and keep you all posted on what's going on in the garden and in our lives. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you all next time.